Hello, so today we're going to do Unit 1, Day 10 Notes, which is the second part of solving inequalities. So basically in today's notes we're going to go over a little bit more complicated problems. So let's go ahead and start with example 1. Now, first thing I want to do is get rid of the parentheses. So I want to distribute -2 with everything inside of the parentheses. So we have -2 times n is -2n. -2 times -4 is +8. Now I want to bring in my symbol down and my -1, and don't forget that 3 at the front. Now remember, the symbol stays the same. Don't mess with it. Just keep on bringing it down, and please try to stay on the same side with your variables. Don't move them unless you're actually planning to move them. So what I'm saying is, don't rewrite the problem and expect the problem to stay the same unless you flip the symbol. Because sometimes we forget that inequalities are very different than equations. With an equation, I can move my n, I can rewrite my problem however I want, and both sides will still be equal. So if I have 3n plus 2, I can move it over to the other side, basically just flipping my problem, and it will still be the same thing. But here, you have to be very cautious, because when we rewrite the problem, we have to make sure that the symbol is flipped. So, in other words, I want you to be very careful when you're rewriting these problems, and to just be consistent until the very end, where I would prefer for you to rewrite the problem then. Okay? So now let's move on to combining like terms. As you can tell, I can do 3 plus 8 is 11. And that's a positive 11. Bring down your -2n is greater than -1. Then, of course, this is just a two-step inequality. So we want to jailbreak the 11, and it becomes -11. So I'm left with -2n is greater than -12. And then I want to divide by -2. So n, and remember, because we're dividing by a negative number, we have to flip the symbol. Now, I could care less if this number was a positive or negative. That has nothing to do with the sign. The only thing that can affect the sign is the number that I'm moving, the number that's in front of the variable. If I'm moving that and it's a negative, then it flips. So basically, if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative number, and which we are in this problem. So negative divided by negative is a positive. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my final answer is n is less than 6. Okay, moving on to the next problem. Now you notice I have a negative. You can put a 1 in between the negative and the parentheses. I really don't need that. I can just go ahead and distribute that negative. So basically it's going to do the opposite of everything inside of the parentheses. So a negative times a -k becomes a +k. A negative times a -3 becomes a +3. So we went from a -k to a +k, from a -3 to a +3. So when you're going to distribute a negative, it basically becomes a positive. Now, bring down your +2, bring down your symbol, and bring down your 7. Now, combine like terms. 3 plus 2 is 5, and it's a +5. Bring down the k, bring down your inequality symbol, and bring down the 7. Now all I have to do is jailbreak the 5 to become a -5. So I'm left with k symbol. 7 minus 5 is 2. Now, this is a valid answer, but I will promise you that you will not see this answer on any of the exams. So I will prefer if you will rewrite this answer with the variable at the front. So basically, I want the k to be at the front, and I want the 2 to be in the back. Now, to be able to write this inequality symbol correctly, in what direction is the mouth opening towards? It's opening towards the k, so that means when I write it here, I need to make sure that the mouth is opening towards the k, and there's my final answer. Okay, k is greater than 2. Okay, for number 3, I'm not going to work that one out. You may work that one out yourself, and you can ask me for further help on this problem if you need any tomorrow in class. But let's go ahead and flip to the back. And I would like to do number 5. Okay? So number 5 looks a little bit complicated, but really it's not. We just have to take it step by step. Now, first thing I want to do is get rid of the parentheses. And as you can tell, there's 2 sets of parentheses. So we'll start with the first one. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. A negative distributed with everything inside is the opposite. So the opposite of a positive x is a minus x. The opposite of a minus 4 is a positive 4. Or you can think about it like this. A negative times an x is a negative x. A negative times a negative 4 is a positive 4. Okay? So now, write everything else down that you then mess with. Don't even combine like terms yet. Just wait a moment. Remember, we have to take this step by step. Now, combine like terms on both sides, so I'll start with the left side. X plus 6x, 7x. 1 plus 1, 2. Greater than, we do 3 minus x is 2x. Negative 12 plus 4 is negative 8. Now, I need to jailbreak one of the variables. I'm just going to move the 2x over to the other side to become a minus 2x. So 7x minus 2x is 5x. Bring down the plus 2 greater than negative 8. Then I'm going to jailbreak the 2 to become a minus 2. So I'm left with 5x is greater than negative 8 minus 2 is negative 10. Then the opposite of multiplying by 5 is dividing by 5. So my answer is x is greater than negative 2. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and do number 6, which is going to be the last problem we will do for these notes. Now, once again, I need to get rid of the parentheses, and as you can tell, there's 2 sets of parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the negative. And remember, you can put a negative 1 there if it helps, but I don't need it. So now, negative x, negative times x is negative x. Negative times a positive 2 is a negative 2. Don't forget to bring down your 5x, your symbol, and now let's distribute the other negative 5. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. And then bring down your plus 3. Now, let's combine some like terms. 5x minus x is 4x. Bring down your minus 2 and your symbol. And then negative 5 plus 3 is a negative 2. So then bring down your negative 5x. And there is my problem. Jailbreak one of the variables. I'm just going to do the 5x, the minus 5x to become a plus 5x. So 4x plus 5x is 9x. Minus 2 is greater than negative 2. Now I am at a 2-step inequality. Let me go ahead and jailbreak the minus 2 to become a plus 2. And I'm left with 9x is greater than negative 2 plus 2 is 0. And then the opposite of multiplying by 9 is to divide by 9. And as you can tell, this is a positive number that I'm dividing by. So I don't have to flip my symbol. My symbol basically stays the same. So my answer is x is greater than 0. So of course, if you have any further questions about today's lesson, please do not hesitate to ask me tomorrow in class.